Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's the Beast Snagga Orcs. It's the Orc unboxing for Beast Snaggers. So currently at the moment, this is the only way to get the Orc Codex, and whoopsie, it comes with miniatures. So unfortunately I had to buy this box. I'm tempted by Orcs. I've had Orcs for quite some time. I got gifted quite a few thousand points of Orcs by House Chaos John. Way back when, and I've had Orcs since 2nd edition. I think I've ever painted 2 Orcs, possibly, both different editions of Thraka, Chaos Girl Thraka. I may have painted 1 Goth back in 2nd edition, but I'm sure that looks nasty and will probably have to be burnt. But today I will begin my new Orc quest, so I must get some paint on these Orcs and start a 40k army. I wanted to do it for ages, and what better way to do it than new Orc rules with new Orc models which look wicked. So the Orcs riding the beasts are okay in my opinion. They don't tickle my hobby pickle, they might tickle yours. But I do like the overall feel of them. I do like the fact they look a bit more feral, look a bit more savage, and that's the way I like my Orcs. So, we will talk about this box. So, as you can probably see, this box contains a 136 page codex, 52 data cards, beast snackers, beast, they probably do snack, beast snagger, decal sheets, 26 Citadel miniatures, so you've got Zod Grod Wark Snagga, and 20 Beast Snagga boys, Knob on Smasher Squig and a Bomb Squig, and 3 Squig Hog boys. So always used to like the Tank Buster Squigs, the Bomber Squigs, and new Bomb Squig. That was pretty cool. So this box is flipping heavy. So I will open it up and show you the contents. So sliding off the outer sleeve, you can see Deathcall Krieg and a great white squig on the front, which is pretty cool. So I thought I'd show you the artwork, and on the backs, the back even, on the back of the box is a classic Orc symbol, which most of you would recognise. Inside, rather than having a plain, regular, old, empty box, it's laid out this handy compartment. So, bases, one of which escaped. Get back in there. Miniatures, oh, there's another one. And cards. Look at all those minis. Awesome. So, what do we talk about first? Well, bases are bases. We've seen bases before. It's pretty boring. Don't want to see that. Get away. What we do want to see is some lovely Orcsies. What? Yeah, Orcs. That's the one. So this is Zodgrod. Do love a bit of Orky names. Lots and lots of detail. So one thing I do notice about the new Orcs is, yes, they are new, they are slightly better poses, a bit more detail, but are not crazy different. So they still kind of blend into your Orcs from 10, 20 years ago. Not too bad. Some of my Orcs, on the other hand, are from the early 90s. I do have possibly a couple original Space Orcs as well, which will definitely be out of sync, and they will look completely different. But classic shoulder guards, very orky, chunks of steel, just kind of bashed into crude positions. The old classic Orc cod piece, you know, but that smells lovely. A bionic arm, which looks distinctly quite human actually for an Orc. Could have gone crazy. And classic orc face, which doesn't look out of sync, like I said, from some of the older orc models. Same with the close combat weapon. So yes, they look new, they do look better, but I'm glad they didn't give it a massive overhaul and was completely different. So it looks like crude panels, a couple little grots hanging off the back. Lots and lots of classic GW details. Big giant squigs, which are like chubby little dinosaurs that they're riding on. Some chains. Now before I even tackle the Codex, I would like to paint them up slightly different from any other classic orc look. So I know a lot of people at the moment on the grapevine, I hear they are playing Snakebites purely because they have the equivalent of transhuman, which is always nice. That's more an orky bionic weapon. Very nice. But even before I look at the rules, I'm thinking Death Skulls, because blue and green complement each other really well. I like the look of them. I've painted my Aeronautica blue, because I thought Death Skulls look pretty cool. Just a bit bright, a bit different, a bit eye-catching. I'm going to rust them up a little bit as well. But then when I look at the rules and see something that could be a lot cooler, I might go for that. But for several editions, oh yeah, that looks pretty meaty. For several editions, you've seen orcs painted as goths, which is fine, that's cool. You can paint them up however you want. Snakebite, I'm glad they're coming back, because you didn't see them quite so much recently. Do like the hunchback look there, very feral looking, bits of tarp hanging off. Spiky back model there, looks pretty damn cool. Looks more like a gator than an orc. Classic orc weaponry, like I said, doesn't look too out of hand, out of place. It still looks like they can blend in with the rest of your orc army, which is great, especially if you're already an orc player and you've got thousands of orcs already painted up. You don't want to be having new models that really stick out. So this is the same sprue by the looks of it, just upside down, just to confuse you guys. Looks like grenades for a grenade launcher. Massive. Big old beefy orcses. But yeah, I want to be a bit different. I want to paint them up blue and green. I think look good. Now the age-old question I've had in many a tournament when you're chatting with your opponent: do you go realistic models, or do you go eye-catching? Wow, look at that from the other side of the table. So I always use Acadians as an example. Camo looks a bit boring, looks a bit plain from distance. Even if it's smoothly painted, looks great from a distance. But if it's eye-catching and it's popping, people are going to go, wow, look at that, and it draws them to the table. So what do I do with my orcs? Do I paint them bright fluorescent green skin, or do I make them more realistic, grubby, grimy looking green? So if you can help me out, guys, I don't know where to start. Orc skin, there's going to be a lot of it, so I need to start with the skin really. So if you can help me out. Opinions in the comments section below. Would you go bright, vibrous green so you can see them across the room and go, wow, look at that, and go over and have a look? Or do you want them to be more realistic, more rust, more grime, a bit more of a dirty green is what I'm saying. Orc decal sheets for different clans, so you'll notice Goths, Bad Moons there, Snake Bites in the bottom left, you've got Blood Axes, Evil Sons, yeah, and it's good old Death Skulls, because blue, it's a bit of a lucky colour for them. So, yeah, I mean, always a mix and match. I did have a couple of Gork and Morka vehicles way back when. Never painted them, but did assemble them, which had Evil Sun's symbols on them. So I will dig those out, drop them in a good old bit of Detto, get some of those symbols removed, and they can join the Orc masses. Couple of Orc posters here, exactly the same, front and back as well. Nice and shiny down the light, that's very professional. I think that looks pretty cool. Look at that. It's really nice to put on the wall. Hell, I might even get one framed. Here we have the Orc Data Cards. The standard size. So, Psychic Powers. Good old Smite. Headbanger. So we'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see a bit clearer. Okay. Warp charge value of 5. Not too bad. Pull off. Giggity. Witchfire. Headbanger has a warp charge value of 5. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 18 inches of this psyker and roll 1d6. If the result is higher than the selected unit's toughness characteristic, that unit suffers d6 mortal wounds. Nice. No more than one model can be destroyed as a result of these mortal wounds. Any excess damage is lost. Okay. So, so 1d6, you got to roll higher than their toughness. Not equal to, but higher than their toughness. So let's say you're going against Marines, going for 5s and 6s. It's d6 more wounds. You'll get rid of one model, probably. Is it worth it? I mean, it's pretty good against a leader, right? Some character model. That's pretty cool. Warpath. So, Blessing. Warpath has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one friendly clan core or clan character unit that's within 18 inches of this psyker. Until the start of the next psychic phase, add 1 to the attack's characteristic of models in that unit. Yep, that's good. Warp charge value of 6 as well. Very tasty. So, why wouldn't you? Their jump, which is good old classic Orc. Orc. So, Blessing, their jump has a warp charge value of 7. Okay, above average, I find. If manifested, select one friendly clan core unit that's within 12 of this psyker. Remove that unit from the battlefield and set them up anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 9 inches from enemy models. Which is nice. Fists of Gork. Okay, it's a Blessing. Fists of Gork has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one friendly Orc's character model that's within 12 of this psyker and visible to them into the start of the next psychic phase. Add 2 to that model's strength and attacks characteristics. If the result of the psychic test was 11 or more, add 3 to the strength and attack characteristics instead. Very, very nice. The crunch. Jabbing fingers. Roar of Mork. So what are these psychic powers? These additional ones that I'm skipping through? Oh yeah, that's right. It's the new Beast Head disciplines. So basically, the Warrior Boys, it's the Beastie Psychers, have their own psychic abilities. So for example, Frazzle has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, roll a 1d6 for each enemy unit that's within 9 inches of this psyker. On a 4-up, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. Yeah, it's okay. It's alright. It's okay. Biting Jewels. Biting Jewels has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy model that's within 18 inches and visible to this psyker. Draw a line between them, any part of this psyker space and any part selected model space or hull. So you could target a vehicle, obviously. The selected model's unit and every other enemy that this line passes over or through suffers 1 mortal wound. So 18 inches, you could get quite a few mortal wounds. That's pretty nice. So it doesn't look amazing initially, because if you're, let's say you're targeting a vehicle that's 16 inches away, yes, you could only get 1 mortal wound, boo-hoo. but it might finish it off. And if there's any vehicles in between, it's pretty good. Initially, it doesn't look amazing, but Spirit of Gork, Beast Scent, and Squiggly Curse. With a name like that, I'm going to have to read it out. Squiggly Curse has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 12 inches of this psyker. Roll d6 for each model in that unit up to a maximum of 6 dice. For each result of a 4+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. If any models in that unit are destroyed by this psychic power, every other enemy within 6 suffers 1 mortal wound. That's nice! I like that. So 7, not the easiest to cast, granted. But yeah, roll d6 for each unit, model in that unit, so up to 6 dice. So it's a 10-man unit you're attacking. Let's say you roll up to 6 dice on a 4-up, suffers 1 mortal wound. Any models in that unit are destroyed by this psychic power. Every other enemy unit within 6, so not the same unit, but all the other enemy units within 6, suffers 1 mortal wound. So, I mean, that mortal wound that spills over into another unit is not going to destroy a healthy unit, but it's nice. It's nice. And 4 up for a mortal wound, it's not bad. So let's say 6 dice. You know, there's a good chance that 3 of those, average chance, it's going to be a mortal wound, which should kill, let's say, a regular Primaris. It's pretty nice. So, this is where we have the stratagems. Unbridled Carnage. Yes! Use this stratagem at the start of the fight phase. Select one Goth core or Goth character unit from your army. There's no mucking about clan culture. At the end of this phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, if it scores an additional hit on a modified, roll of a 5 instead of a 6. Which is pretty nice, because normally Goths, if you don't know, they score additional hits on a 6. So on a 5 and a 6 is quite nice. So I'm not going to go through all of the stratagems. I'm just going to pick one randomly. Teleporter. So basically, you can use reinforcements, which is pretty nice. So it does cost 2 command points. So use this stratagem during deployment. Select one non-monster orc unit from your army has a power rating of 20 or less. You can set them up on a teleport pad instead. So usual rules apply though. More than 9 inches away. If you select a transport unit, any embarked units remain embarked when this unit is set up on the battlefield. That's pretty cool. So you could use it on battle wagons, pretty nice. Fill that with troops. Boom. 2 command points. 9 inches away. It's pretty cool. So regular, obviously, reinforcement rules do apply. That's pretty cool. See, I haven't even begun to play orcs yet, and you really do. People do say orc players are the ones that, you know, they role play orcs when they play on the tabletop. You don't get many Space Marines that shout out Space Marine quotes. It does happen. I've been to Warhammer World, and you can hear across the hall, "For Sanguinius," and things like that. But no, with orcs, you really do get. I haven't started playing yet, and I'm starting to talk like an orc. Actually, to be fair, I think I've been talking like an orc since I was a student, but hey ho. More Daka, which is always good. 2 command points. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase. Yep, fair enough. When an orcs unit from your army is selected to shoot until the end of that phase, Daka weapons unit that's in until the end of that phase. Daka weapons that unit is equipped with was considered to be within half range when determined how many attacks are made with that weapon. So normally you have 2 profiles with a Daka weapon. So that is one of the main changes to the new Orc Codex. So rather than assault or rapid fire, they have a Daka rule. So it will have a number / another number. So the first number is going to be higher than the second number generally. because if you're within half range, you get slightly more dagger. So, you know when you have rapid fire 1 and you're within half range, you get 2 shots. With this, you just have a couple extra shots. Before, you would get additional shots if you're rolling 6s, for example. But this time around, rather than relying on 6s or hoping for 6s, they just give you a couple extra shots within half range. Force Field Booster for 2 command points, which is quite nice. So use a stratagem at the start of your opponent's shooting phase. Select one model in your army that's equipped with a custom force field. So if you don't know by now, custom force field has a little force field invulnerable bubble. Until the end of that turn, replace the custom force field's ability with the following. So it gains aura while friendly orcs units are within 9 inches of the bearer. It has a 5-up invulnerable save. On the bad news though, at the end of this turn, the custom force field overloads. It cannot be used for the rest of the battle. You can only use this stratagem once per battle. Yes. So you make a big old bubble, trying to protect your troops. Fire Overwatch, well we know how that works. Should do by now. Counter-offensive, insane bravery. Those things have not changed. Should we pick another one around? Dead sneaky. So use this stratagem at the end of the movement phase. If the mission that you're playing is using the strategic reserves rule, select one Blood Axe infantry unit from your army, excluding mega armor units. That's within 3 inches of a battlefield edge. Place that unit in strategic reserves. Jesus, I have not been drinking. This is a Sunday morning, I swear to you. Grot Shield is one I will be using. I have perused around the Codex. This is very, very orky. I do love a bit of this. Grot Shields, use this stratagem at the start of your opponent's shooting phase. Select one Orc infantry unit from your army. Then select one Gretchen infantry unit from your army that's within 6 inches of that unit. To the end of the phase, enemy models cannot be selected. Until the end of that phase, enemy models cannot select the selected Orc infantry unit as a target if selected Gretchen infantry unit is closer to the visible target. So it's basically, look out, sirs, for infantry if there is any grot within 6 inches. It does cost 2 points, but if you really want to hold that objective, and people are going to hose you down, let's say you've only got 2 orcs on that objective, you've got like 20 grots nearby, they're going to have to shoot the grots first. So hopefully they have a good weight of dice to remove them. So that's the cards. The new Orc Codex. Look at that. Damn right. So it's a nice field book. Obviously hardback. Looks less cartoony than any previous edition. So the first things you really want to think about is your Orc clans, your clan coaches. So basically, thinking about like Space Marines, if you don't know about Orcs, it's like a Space Marine chapter. So are you a Blood Angel or you're a Space Wolf, things like that. For you who have played Orcs over the years, you'll know exactly what this is all about. You probably skipped this stage. And you've already painted up your bazillion orcs. But for those new, or fancy a new culture, you have the following options. So the Goths, I won't go into the extra stratagems and the Warlord Traits and the Relics, I'll just give the basic rundown. So Goths have no mucking about. So I was just talking a minute ago when I was looking at the card. In close combat, any unmodified rolls of a 6 in the melee is 1 additional attack, which is pretty cool. Each time a model with this culture makes a melee attack, it's charged or performed a heroic intervention, you add 1 to the strength characteristics of the attack. So most of your infantry is strength 4, it'd be now strength 5, which is quite nice. It's quite nice. You have the old Bad Moons. So Bad Moons is armored dudatif. Add 6 inches to the range characteristics of Daka and heavy weapons, which, this is orcs. There's a lot of Daka and heavy weapons. Each time a model with this clan culture makes a range attack on an unmodified roll of a 6, improve that armor penetration by 1. That's good. That's good. With orcs, you'll find they're great fun. They're not massively reliable, but that's not what it's about. You are really relying on those 5s and 6s for hitting most of the time. But when you've got 1,000 models on the table, you know, it's going to happen at some stage. I'm not going to mention my dice at all because they are very fickle and they're great for saves at the moment. It's been mentioned on the channel a lot recently. I am rolling a lot of 5s and 6s, but only on saves. And the same dice I use for shooting. So, hey ho. Evil Sons, if you want to go a bit faster, so if you're using Speed Freaks, you add plus 2 inches to your speed. If you're not using Speed Freaks, it's just a normal orc model, you still add 1 to the move characteristic. Still good? Still good. So your Speed Freaks unit that has 14 inches, you could be now 16 inches. It's pretty nice. You add 1 to the advance rolls for those models as well, which is great. Amazing. They do not suffer the penalty occurred for the hit rolls while firing assault weapons in the same turn when they advanced. So you might find a few rocket launchers have the assault profile. Most other most other 40k armies are heavy rocket launchers, but orcs, they think it's an assault weapon. And then snake bites, which is really popular at the moment. I know this box is leaning towards snake bites. Because it's got that feral nature look about all the models in the box, and the character in the box is indeed a snakebite character as well. I was thinking about a slight conversion on him, so I can have him as a regular Gretchen herder anyway. But anyway, each time an attack is made against a unit with this culture, unless the attack is a strength 8 or higher, so melters, las cannons, things like that. They basically have transhuman, so a 1, 2 or 3 cannot be wounded. So they are toughness 5 generally across the board anyway. So your regular bolters are wounding on 5s, your heavy bolters are wounding on 4s. Anything from strength 6 and 7, which it's not massively popular, you will not be wounding on 3s, you'll be wounding on 4s. Anything like melters and stuff like that, it still applies. You're still wounding what you're normally wounding on, which is generally a 3 if it's a melter getting against strength 5. So I don't think, as cool as it sounds, it looks really good until it says strength 8 or higher. I don't come across personally in my meta many strength 6 or 7s, but it happens. Each time a squig model with this culture makes a melee attack, if the model makes a charge move or performs a heroic invention, add 1 to the attack wound rolls. So squigs are slightly more aggressive with them, which is nice. I've always fancied over the years going for Descos, purely because I like the Braveheart half blue painted face, and I thought blue and green complement each other really well. That's just my personal preference. I have no idea about the rules. I just picked it. I chose it for Aeronautica Imperialis, so I painted my planes blue. I just like the idea that their mechs are slightly better, because I'm a mechanic myself, and I've always thought that they were quite fun. I like the fluff behind them. Followed them for years, never checked out the rules, as I've never played orcs. But these guys, each time a unit with this clan culture shoots or fights, it can re-roll 1 hit roll or 1 wound roll when resolving that unit's attacks. So it's shoot and fight. It's not shoot phase or fight phase. So if you wanted Overwatch, yeah, sure. Each time a model with this clan culture loses a wound as a result of a mortal wound, on a 5-up, that wound is not lost. So it's not feel no pain if it's only 5-up against mortal wounds. So it's not all the time. So maybe against Death Guard or Grey Knights. So Phil, yes, I'm talking to you. Infantry units with this culture gain object secured ability, which I think is great because one of the big changes in this book's Gretchen no longer have OBSEC, objective secured. So if they're on an objective and let's say Space Marine tactical model is there, he's got that objective. Now all infantry units with this culture gain OBSEC. Really strong, I think. Really strong. In this edition, it is all about holding objectives. And if you've got like 100 Orc models on the table, why not give them OBSEC? So they're no more survivable unless it's against mortal wounds. They get a little bit of a helping hand. But I think just looking at those two pictures alone, that looks cool, right? I like the blue and the green. Rule of cool for me. Right, blood axes. And plus, I didn't want my fourth army to be another close combat army. Orcs, yes, I do like the close combat. But I'm leaning towards a little bit of Dakar, a little bit of close combat, a little bit of speed, and just having fun. Because my Tyranids, close combat. Well, they should be. I think Gene Stealers need a buff. So at the moment I'm kind of leaning towards shooting with my Nids. But I'm only doing that because I don't think the close combat stuff is where it needs to be. Strength 6 on a Siving Talon. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, Blood Angels, Nids, World Eaters, all very close combat-y. Orcs, I'm just there to paint and have some fun. No idea how it's going to go. Still early days for me yet. Haven't even put models on the table yet. So Blood Axes. Each time a range attack is made against a unit with this culture, the attacker is more than 18 inches away, and this unit is treated with having the benefits of light cover. So slightly more survivable, because you know those Orc saves aren't amazing. Hey ho, slightly more survivable. But you've got to be more than 18 inches away. So if those bolters are right in your face, yeah, afraid not. Units with this culture are eligible to shoot or declare a charge with, but not both, in a turn which they had fallen back. It's pretty cool. So if you fall back, not that that's a very orky thing to do, you can charge again, or you can shoot. So a bit more tactical, a bit more sneaky. Hence the dead sneaky. There. Freebooters. So freebooters, they do like their flash kits, hence flash kits. So each time a freebooter unit from your army destroys an enemy unit after that unit's attacks have been resolved, until the end of the phase, each time an attack is made by another freebooter's unit with this culture from your army, add 1 to the attacker's hit roll. So that's how you make Orcs get a little bit more accurate. So flash kits are probably the best shooting infantry unit, I feel. Having a quick look over this this codex, and I think that's how they should be, because it's all the best gear cobbled together. So yeah, that makes sense. If they kill someone else will get the bonuses to shooting, which is good. Good. So we have mob rules. We have custom jobs, which I really do like. So custom jobs, kind of like with your Space Marines again. If you wanted to make Apothecary, a Master Apothecary, or Chief Apothecary, spend additional power or additional points to make them better. Same rules apply here, which I think is really good. But I really do like this book. Like I said, the two changes really are clan cultures and Dakar. But if you did like playing Gretchen before, I suppose the third one is Gretchen, Grots, whatever you want to call them, do not have OBSEC. So the same thing, so that's vehicles. You've got mech custom jobs as well, which is pretty nice. Stratagems, we've briefly talked about a couple of stratagems, which is pretty nice. So you've got stratagems specifically, morale stratagem here for failed clan unit, excluding Gretchen. You basically, if they have failed, and that unit is within 3 inches of a war boss, it can suffer D3 mortal wounds and is treated as being passed. So I mean, it's good, because if a unit has failed, you could use the 2 points to auto pass morale, And you can only do that, obviously, once, right? Whereas this means you can do it an additional time that turn. And you can do it the following turn, you know. Orcs aren't the best with morale, you know. So I think Breaking Heads was a good old classic nod to like the original stuff. Orcs is never beaten, which is pretty cool. Use this stratagem in the fight phase. When an Orc's character model in your army that's not already fought can do so. I think that's fairly standard. I mean, Space Marines have got something additional. Space Marines have got something very similar. And we talked about Grot Shields. That's definitely one I'll be using. So Warlord Traits. So you've got your basic Warlord Traits here, which I will zoom in really slightly. So does that help? So your basic Warlord Traits are here, and then you've got your Beast Snagga Warlord and a Speed Freak Warlord trait. So there is a stratagem to give another character, as long as it's not a named character, another Warlord trait, which is pretty cool. The same thing with like the Relics as well. So I think every codex pretty much has that, which is nice. I know Space Marines definitely do. So my personal favourite from here is Ardor's Nails. Each time an attack is made that targets this Warlord, subtract 1 from the attack's wound roll. So that's range and close combat, which is pretty nice. There's a few other nice ones. I mean, the extra strength and extra attack is not to be sniffed at. I do like Attitude. So Attitude, which I'm quite surprised it has a H. It should be Attitude, like Ardor's Nails. Anyway, not going into that. Nearly went full-blown Orky already, haven't I? While this Warlord is with engagement range of an enemy character or monster unit, each time a model would lose a wound, roll a d6. On a 4-up, that wound is not lost. So if you feel like your Beast Snagga Warlord is going to be killing characters, I would say use that. It's basically a 4-up, feel no pain, which is really nice. And Junk Boss. 4-up and vulnerable save, not to be sniffed at if you want to be a Speed Freak Warlord. So we have mentioned... Oh, look at that shiny. Let me get rid of that. We have mentioned some of the powers. So the Power of the War and the Beast Head Discipline on the cards. Now here's the Relics. So with the Relics, Super Cyborg Body, I think is pretty nice. So infantry model only. Yep, you won't be sticking that on a vehicle. This model has a 4-up invulnerable save, which is always good. It's like an Iron Halo for Space Marines. Each time an attack is allocated to this model, half the damage characteristic of that attack. Doesn't say rounding down, but I presume it is, rather than rounding up. So if someone hits you with a 3-weapon, presumably that's a 1 damage. If I'm wrong, please tell me in the comment section below. Like a Beast Snagga one would be the Beast Hide Mantle. Add 1 to the bearer's attack characteristics. Always nice. Very, very orky. Each time the bearer would lose a wound on a 5-up, that wound is not lost. So a lot of that kind of stuff going on. Kill Claw, which is pretty nice. Gets rid of the minus to hit. And then we go for the chapter approved rules. So these are for your secondary missions. So if secondary missions is your cup of tea, which I do play a lot of, to be fair, just practicing for local tournaments, using a lot of those kind of missions. My personal favourite, because I like to spam a lot of infantry models on the table, is Battlefield Supremacy, the Green Tide. So at the start of the battle, divide the battlefield into 4 even quarters. Score 3 victory points at the end of the battle round if 2 or more battlefield quarters have an Orcs unit in them that contains 11 or more models. And they've got to be wholly within those quarters. Score 5 victory points if you fill all 4 in the same manner. So, presuming, because they're on the table, if you put them in a truck, which is open top, they're still classed as on the table, right? So yeah, get those trucks, fill them with boys. If you want to put them at the back just to get 3 points, it's a bit cowardly for Orcs, but hey ho, it's valid. So they've got to pop that vehicle and at least knock down under 11 models for you to stop scoring that. I think 3 points is pretty decent. You know, there's a good chance you're going to have at least 2 table quarters every turn with orcs. I think it's really, really good. I mean, this kind of thing is great. The biggest and the best. If you want your characters to kill other characters, for example, things like that. And that obviously works really well with what we just read a second ago. This one here. So if you're going against characters, then Feel No Pain is pretty nice. So an enemy, monster, or vehicle unit is destroyed as a result of a melee attack by this Warlord. That's pretty nice. You get 5 points. An enemy character is destroyed as a result of melee attack by this Warlord. So the biggest and the best. If you select the secondary objective, you score 3 victory points at the end of each battle round for the following achievements by your Orc's Warlord, to a maximum of 5 victory points. So okay, you get this at the end of each battle round. So an enemy, monster, or vehicle is destroyed as a result by a melee attack by this Warlord. Okay. Bing! 3 points. An enemy character is destroyed as a result of this Warlord. You can get 3 points that way. 5 or more enemy models are destroyed as a result by this Warlord. So, let's say that there, the last one, is attacks. So you could shoot 5 models on the way in, for example, or lob a grenade or something. And then you kill a character or a monster in close combat. Then you get a maximum of 5 points. That's every turn. So there's a good chance. I mean, it's every turn. So if you don't kill enough infantry models, let's say, in the first turn, and then your opponent has to attack you in their phase, and then you get to attack, and you manage to finish them off, then you've topped it up, and there's your 5 points. So if you want your Warlord to get crumping, get in there quick, be in someone's face, I think that's really, really good. For me personally, I'm probably aiming towards the Green Tide. Lots and lots and lots of Orky models. Haven't played Crusade yet. So I know Luke, who's been on the channel, he was talking about Crusade back along. Really, really want to give it a go. I think Crusade is pretty funny. It's tickling my role-playing pickle, because I do like that kind of stuff. Leveling up is always good. That's why we created Outlands. Check out Outlands if you haven't done already. Outlands is mentioned in the description below. So, data sheets, deck of weapons we previously mentioned. Here we go is a great ability. So here we go, if a model has, or a unit has this ability, you can reroll charge rolls for that unit, which I think is amazing. I play Warrior Eaters quite a bit, and I always spend 10 points on a banner to get that. So if they have that innately, brilliant. Ramshackled, certain vehicles have the ramshackled keyword, which I think is wicked. Each time an attack is allocated to this model, unless the attack has a strength value of 8 or more, so once again, melters and stuff like that, you basically subtract 1 from the damage characteristics of that attack to a minimum of 1. So, not many weapons at strength 7 and below do multiple damage, but there are a few out there. Heavy bolters, for example. Heavy bolters do 2 damage. If they do get through and hit your ramshackled vehicle, then we do 1 damage now. It's pretty cool. It's okay. It's not going to happen all the time, especially this day and age with that many melters out there. Yeah, it's not going to take effect on that. I'm sorry. Okay, was work different now, but still pretty cool. So the normal for normal Orc infantry models. So Orc core and Orc character units from your army are eligible to declare a charge, even if they advanced. Very nice. Get crumping, lads. So you get in there really quick. So basically, mark to roll that advanced dice, and hopefully get some decent rolls. Get the table a little bit faster, and you add 1 to the attack's characteristics. Yay! And that's what it's all about, right? And then stage 2 is basically the next command phase. So your opponent's command phase. it's still in there. So that basically that's your phase, your turn. Let's say you got first turn, you do it then, if you want to. I'll be probably doing it in turn 2. I don't think I'll be getting in people's faces that fast. And then when it's your opponent's turn, that's in there. But when it gets back to your own, let's say round 2, that's gone again. So once per battle, that's there, then it's gone. Okay, use it wisely. Not that orcs are wise. You want to wah straight away, and you have to shout out wah. You have to. Alright? It's not in the book, but you should do. Right, or you have a speed wah. So speed wah obviously affects faster things. So if you want to have orc bikes, speed freaks, that kind of stuff, fantastic. So orc models in your army that do not suffer the penalty occurring with a hit roll for firing assault weapons in the same turn they advanced. Very nice. They get 1 extra DACA, which is okay, you know. But this is the sweet spot, I think. Each time a model with an orc's vehicle or an orc's bike keyword shoots, the ranged attack penetration is improved by 1. It's pretty cool. And once again, that stays around to the following turn. So if you have certain things that can fall back and shoot, maybe. For me, the bikes aren't all about shooting. I like the bikes in close combat, but hey ho. That's how I roll. If you have Gazgo Thraka, which only works for Goths, sadly, as cool as he is, which I feel disappointing. I wouldn't mind using the guy. I've painted him up last October, and I mean, yeah, he should give bonuses to Goths because he is a Goth, but I think you should take him anyway. And alright, if you, let's say, you're snake bites, it doesn't give the bonuses to snake bites, but it's just be nice to have him on the table. He is a boss. So he can do a Great Wah, which is basically both of those. That's cool. And there he is, the man himself, Gazgo Thraka. So his keyword is Goth, sadly. Okay, so usual Codex layout. Pretty straightforward, pretty clear. I mean, like the war gear options can be equipped with 1 Grot Oiler. I think they've just tweaked the data cards just a little bit more. It's a bit easier to use, and it has a few actually suggestions on it as well. I've noticed in a few places it says, if you do this, this changes. Especially if you go for an open top vehicle and give it an hard case, it states on the sheet that your toughness will go up, things like that, which I think is pretty good. So you'd have to flick backwards and forwards through the codex quite so much. And once again, I like the fact you've got older models in the pictures, things like that. You also have some obviously newer models. For example, that guy is the character that came in the box. So Zodgrod, which is the guy I'm going to convert. Because I will be using snake bites, me personally, but hey ho. Obviously the new Squigosaurs, which I'm sure we'll be seeing lots of. Yes. So he's snake bite as well, which is a shame, because like the Great White Squig does look pretty damn epic. He is any orc clan, but he's the word boy, so he's the one that can do like the beast side of the powers rather than the normal wah side. And then the classic Gretchen, which, yes, they do not have obsec. And these guys are cowardly, so unless you have a runt herder nearby, they subtract 1 to the result of the combat attrition tests. And they are basically the tiny little guys. So they normally have a 7-up save, so no save at all. But if you are in cover, you basically have a 5-up save. Ooh, yeah, that's right, because they get +1 to the saves if in cover, because they're so tiny. So that's the new Beast Snagga boys on the top left there. So main difference is strength is 5 as standard. I do like the feral look and nature, which is really cool. So it does say Orc Clan. It's not purely for snake bites. So I think the only thing in the box is snakebite, is that named character. So not the end of the world. If you don't want to play snake bites and you wanted the Codex sooner, that's a good place to get it. So like I said, I'm going to convert mine to the Runt Herder, because if you didn't know, Runt Herders, they do. I was going to give them the Squig Hound. So the bearer against followed ability with Squig Hound Aura. So with Gretchen within 3 inches, they do not modify the combat attrition tests, which is pretty cool. Tank Busters are back. They're pretty damn good. I do like the tank hammer. So you can have a model in this unit that has a tank hammer. Each time the bearer fights, it can only make one attack with this weapon if the attack hits. So they're hitting on 3s. A target unit suffers d6 mortal wounds, and this bearer is destroyed. So yeah, that's how you want to go out. Hammer with an explosive on it, whack a tank, boom, tank gone. He's gone, he doesn't care. Mega Knobs, still as good as ever. 2-up save, kill souls for days. So if you have 2 kill souls, you have an extra attack, so they'll be having 4 attacks each. Hitting on 3s, which is pretty nice. But it's -1 with the kill souls, isn't it? Because it's a cumbersome weapon, so hitting on 4s. But there's things out there like the Wars that gives them extra attacks and things like that, so they can just have a shed load of attacks. Any that gets through, it's strength 10, -4, D3 damage. That's nice. I like that. I have recently purchased a Boomdacker Snaz Wagon, not just because it looks cool. Yeah, it was because it looked cool. And now I've read the rules. And that's after I've bought one, purely because I thought it was cool, from one of my local hobby shops. So support your local, especially in these difficult times. So this thing can actually have 3 in a unit, which is interesting, which I didn't know. So I might have to buy a couple more, because why not have 3 of them caning around? So you can upgrade these. I was saying earlier on, you can upgrade some vehicles for extra points. For an extra 10 points, you can give them a little bit more DACA. But that's only on the mech special. That one there. So I believe they get an extra 3 shots. Which is pretty cool. For extra 10 points. Why not? It is just a cool vehicle. It's the one that looks a bit Mad Maxy with a grot on the front, tied to the front. But I just think Orcs look wicked. They look random, they look cool. Firing squigs out of guns, hoovering up squigs. The mechanics that I'm hoping to use, the mechs even, they can basically teleport a part off an enemy vehicle and repair one of their vehicles with it. So it causes a mortal wound to an enemy vehicle while repairing one of theirs. I think that's just cool fluff. It's very, very orky, stealing stuff. War bikes. War bikes really do interest me. They're quite low in points. I think they're 25 points. And so you can have quite a lot of models in a unit. So you can have a boss on war bike, and you can have 8 war bikes. Initially you're thinking, yeah, they've only got 2 attacks, base and close combat, not great. But if you give them a chopper, they get additional attacks as well. So they're hitting on 3s in close combat, which is pretty cool. Get to reroll the charges because they got Here We Go. Best thing about them, Cloud of Smoke. So -1 to range attack rolls. Target this unit. Pretty cool. They're toughness 5 anyway, so if you do get hit, they're a bit more resilient. 3 wounds on the normal guys. It's pretty nice. 4-up save. It's better than most orcs, to be fair. And they are pretty quick. So I'm going to be using a lot of them. It's just my personal preference. And Deathcopters. I've always liked Deathcopters. I've got 8, but of course now they have units of 6, so I need to buy some more. Or smash a couple up and put some wheels on them and make them into bikes. Because why not, right? Because they look pretty cool as bikes, I think. And if you can take wings off a plane and turn them into a regular tracked orc vehicle, why not? That's one thing I like about orcs. Possibilities are endless. if you have an old smashed up Space Marine Rhino you bought on eBay for £1, turn it into a truck, an Orc truck. Why not? It's a looted vehicle. So back in the day, looted vehicles, which aren't a thing now, unless I'm wrong, I can't find it in the Codex, used to be able to use any other vehicle from 40k as their own. Obviously the shooting rules were not quite so good, because you just orcified it, but still. But yes, I like these guys because for every 3 models in this unit, you can have a big bomb, which you can only use once, but if you fly over something, you drop a bomb on people. I think it's pretty funny. I probably won't be shooting too much with them. Standard ballistic skill 5, but the weapon skill is 3. And with the spinning blades, for every attack you make, you roll 3 attack rolls. So I have 2 attacks as standard. That's 6 attacks per bike, which Deathcopter even, which is really, really cool. The Battle Wagon chassis is still as good as ever. So basic 3 forms. Battle Wagon, which you can upgrade to a Bone Breaker and a Gun Wagon. So my personal preference, always like the Death Roller, because you're hitting on 2s, which is amazing in close combat. So why not try to get in close combat with this thing? It's generally the first thing to get a shot off the table, but hey ho. Killer Cans still have a very good place in my heart. I've always thought the models look epic. So top left here. So I will be running max units if I can. Yeah, they're not massively fast, but I just like the idea of a little tiny Grot in there, thinking he's a god, basically. So I've still got the cardboard one from 2nd edition, which I will not be using, but anything since then. In fact, I've even got, yes, he's got a leg off camera somewhere, but ones like this. Good old chunk of, yeah, it's like a rock. I do have some plastic ones as well, but like I said, I've got some orcs from 2nd edition. I need to update, really. Flash kits, which are like probably the best shooting stuff in the game. Ballistic skill 4, and there is ways to make them ballistic skill of 3s. Give them some decent buffs. Trucks, bombers, Morkanaut, Gorkanaut, classic Stomper, which I'll go to the points section. Take a guess how much an Orc Stomper is. Alright, you've got 30 seconds to guess. Alright, so Orc Stomper is, drum roll please, 675 points. But you do have all of those lovely goodness. Movement 10, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 5 because it's orcs, strength 10, toughness 8, 40 wounds. Yeah, 3 up save. There are ways to give relics to vehicles, which I have found, which is pretty nice. So you can give this thing an invulnerable save. If I am wrong, please tell me, but I'm pretty sure you can. So Mech Boy Workshop, so there's a few bits of terrain that can make a difference. The Boss Bunker as well. So I'm pretty sure it's a vehicle. Obviously the Stomper's a vehicle. And going back to some... So custom jobs. So like the custom jobs, you can more Daka. Each time it fires a Daka weapon. So that is definitely a vehicle. So the vehicle keyword has Daka weapons. So you could get extra shots out of it. If you're spending that many points, I don't think 15 or 30 points on top is really going to make much of a difference. The Shocker Hull, it is a vehicle. So each time someone wants to get in close combat on a 4-up, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. You don't really want to get in close combat with those things anyway, but hey ho. I was hoping some things make models go faster, but it only works on Dreads and Gorkas. And you've got Walkers and aircraft, can't have it, and that is a Walker, things like that. But yeah, general roundup, I think all the vehicles are crazy, because that's how it should be. Some really great abilities out there. I haven't worked out kind of things that can stack yet. Any mental synergies. I've worked out a couple, so like if you've got a Beast Snagga boss, you're really good at taking out characters with your secondaries and a few of the upgrades that specifically target other characters. But yeah, it's a really, really good codex. It is a great box. The models are gorgeous. And they're not, like I said, they're not too dissimilar from the older orcs. So they do fit right in. Fantastic box. I don't think it was a crazy price. The only thing I do not like is the fact that the codex on its own is still not for sale. So I don't think it would have hurt if the codex ran alongside this box set. But for whatever reasons, I don't know why. Maybe publication issues, they just didn't have enough, or they thought it was a good marketing ploy. I know a few people might have bought the box just for the codex to get it early, but I hope not. I hope they bought the box because they wanted to buy the box. And I was quite surprised that it's been a few weeks since the box has come out. That's why I'm a bit behind the times doing this video. But it would have been nice if, let's say, 2 weeks after Codex was released, maybe in a month later, Codex was released. Hopefully the wait isn't too much longer for you lovely people out there. But I'm very, very new into orcs. I'm massively keen. This is the push I needed to get all those models painted. It's going to take a long time. Hopefully you can enjoy the trip with me. I'll be putting loads of pictures on our Instagram page and obviously our Facebook page. That's House of Chaos Community. I'll put a link below. But yeah, hobby safe everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button. And any comments, feel free to put below. And subscribe if you haven't done already. Thank you everyone. And don't forget to...